Right. Hello, Brittany. My name's Sierra. I'll be your nurse today. So today we're just going to do a general history and background, and then an assessment of your full body. I'll ask you a few questions about your past, family history, any concerns that you might have. You can always just stop me and ask me during, our little interview, and then I'll do hands-on with you and just go from there. Okay.
Sounds good.
Do you have a reason for visiting today?
I actually do. I've been having stomach aches.
Oh, okay. And how long has that been going on?
I want to say about 3 days now.
3 days. And what would you describe the pain as? Cramping, stabbing?
I want to say stabbing.
Stabbing.
/ cramping. It's in between both.
Okay. And does it feel worse during you eating, or does it feel better after you eat?
Worse after I eat.
After you eat. Okay. And have you been taking anything to, help with the pain?
Ibuprofen.
Ibuprofen. And has that been helping?
Yeah, a little bit, not that much. It still comes back.
Okay, and it comes back even without you, doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any other symptoms like diarrhea, any nausea, vomiting?
Actually, it does. I do get constipated.
Constipated?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Have you took anything for your constipation?
Ibuprofen.
Well, the ibuprofen might help with the pain, but as far as the constipation, you might need something, like Miralax, something like that, just to help your bowels move. That can also be another reason why you might be having the stomach pain, because you can be a little backed up.
Okay.
So we can talk about, some options for you. If you don't want to start taking Miralax, we can always think of some holistic ways, like, certain teas that might help you use the bathroom and stuff like that.
Okay.
Has this ever been a problem for you before?
No.
Or is this new?
It's new.
Okay. So I'm just going to ask you a little questions as far as family history and stuff like that. And then when I get to your assessment, as far as your abdominal area, we'll go a little further into, your stomach pains and what could help and other reasons why that might have happened, okay?
Okay.
So, do you have any allergies?
I think I'm allergic to peanuts.
Peanuts, and what happens during that?
My mouth starts to get itchy. My throat as well.
Okay. And have you ever looked into getting an EpiPen from your doctor? Or?
No, because it only lasts for like 30 minutes and then it goes
down. Okay. Has Benadryl ever helped you during those, or have you ever tried to use Benadryl?
I've never tried.
Okay. It might be something just to have on hand, just because you aren't with an EpiPen, so something like Benadryl could be a temporary fix until you receive further help. Do you have any medication that you're currently on?
No.
No.
I don't think so, no.
No vitamins, no birth control?
I take biotin. I'm on birth control.
Okay, and how's the birth control been?
It's good.
Have you had any issues with it?
No. It seems like everything's okay so far.
Okay.
I've been on it for 3 months now.
3 months, okay. And how has your period been? Heavy, light?
Regular. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's good. Have you noticed any bruising, like easily? Anything like that?
Yeah, actually, I got a bruise 3 weeks ago and it's still there.
Okay. So that can also, it could also have to do with circulation.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times with the bruising, you need nutrition and blood just to help that area heal. So you can either be lacking in a certain nutritional area, or not drinking enough of water, or it could be due to, the birth control, you just bruising a lot easier because of the estrogen and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
But have you had any problems with, like, were they tender or sore or anything like that, the bruise?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I'm checking.
Yeah. It's not as sore, but
okay.
It used to be much more sore until like 3 days ago, I want to say. Or 4 days ago.
All right. Have you had any family history of any diseases like heart failure, cancer, breast cancer?
Yeah, actually, my dad died. Not my dad. My grandfather died from a heart attack.
Okay.
My other grandparents, they died from stomach cancer and stomach cancer.
Stomach cancer. Okay. So that's definitely something we just want to, keep a look at, just because it, family history can run down the line in the family.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any other family members that might have asthma or?
Asthma
Mhm.
runs in the family.
Asthma,
A lot of allergies run in the family, especially to dogs, cats.
Okay. And how about you? Have you had any of those issues, like as far as like asthma, any heart problems that you might feel like palpitations or pain,
No.
anything like that?
Just anxiety. That's it.
Okay. And what happens usually when you have anxiety?
Can't breathe.
Okay.
Or I can't breathe.
And how long does that happen usually?
How long or how often?
Like how long does it last when you have your anxiety attacks?
It all varies. I usually have to get my mind onto something else.
Mm-hmm.
It all depends on the situation.
Okay. How often do you feel like you do get anxiety?
At least 3 times a week.
3 times a week. Have you changed anything in your life recently that might feel like a little more stress on you?
A lot has changed, yeah. Within the last year.
So like work, family, and stuff like that. Okay. How do you feel like you cope with the stress, like managing it all?
I drink a lot.
Well, that might not be the.
I don't know. I've been eating a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Going to the gym. Well, not going to the gym, but I've been exercising more.
Okay. And that helps you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, like we always want to have like healthy coping mechanisms for stress, because again, we have stress every day. We have good, we have bad stress. So you just don't want to get to a point where you're ignoring it and it causes physical problems and mental problems.
Exactly.
Because it can get to a point where your panic attacks might get worse if you're holding on to things and stuff like that. So you just want to make sure you're always dealing with your stress in a positive way. Yes. Have you ever had any surgeries?
I've never broken anything. I only sprained my wrist.
Okay. What about any other food intolerances? Like anything else that you might eat that might feel weird? Like some people eat and drink dairy and their stomach cramps. So do you have anything that?
If I drink whole milk, I start to feel bloated compared to if I was to drink any other type of milk.
Okay.
Sometimes when I eat apples, actually, I'm allergic to apples too. Just like peanuts, my mouth starts to itch.
Okay.
But I think it's because of the peel, not the actual
apple. Okay.
Yeah. It used to be like that with strawberries, but for some reason it's not like that anymore. I think it's because your body changes every 7
like
years.
sometimes people grow out of certain allergies, or sometimes you think it's an allergy, but it just might be like a small reaction at the time, and it's not really an allergy, just at the where your body is during that year or that time, and it might be
where the fruit was produced too. Just that.
Do you feel like you ever have like any nausea and vomiting, like just frequently or often or anything like that?
Sometimes, yeah. But mostly it's because if I'm nervous or not because I'm actually sick.
Right. It's usually just nerves and just your body just trying to find a way to deal with it. Okay. Your nutritional intake, how would you say that is? As far as if you can give me a 24-hour intake of what you would have for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, what do you drink during the day?
So I do try to drink a gallon of water every day. But as in my nutrition intake, it varies every single day. Like today I had spaghetti for breakfast, and then right after I had ice cream with a waffle.
So you're solid.
But like on a regular day, I'll probably have like a boiled egg with a muffin, like those egg muffins.
Yeah.
English muffins, whatever they're called, and then I'll try to have like a salad or pizza for lunch, and then for dinner, salad or I don't know, Chipotle. I eat Chipotle at least 3 times a week, so.
Well, I mean, it does have good nutritional, so
Yeah.
From it. Do you feel like you eat enough throughout the day, or do you find yourself missing meals or skipping meals?
Sometimes I do skip meals, especially if I ate a lot the day before, because I've noticed if I ate a lot the day before, whatever I ate kind of lingers over to the next day, so I don't feel hungry. So when I actually start to feel hungry is when I eat, and sometimes that happens where I'll just eat one time a day.
Yeah. So it all also depends on like what you're eating. Like things like beef. Beef takes a lot longer to digest. So that's something that can take a little more time. That's why I stopped eating Taco Bell, because beef takes forever and I feel still icky the next day. Also, what could help is just as well as your food intake, like how much water you drink a day, because again, water is a big part of digesting your food. You need water to help digest. So definitely just being on top of that could help with the bloating and stuff.
Have you ever had the water with cayenne peppers and lime? Is that good for you?
I've never had it, and I've never looked into it to know if it is or not. But that's always something we can like look into as far as like with your doctor and what he sees about it, because I haven't really did much research on it. So.
Okay.
How would you say your weight management has been? Do you feel like you've changed drastically within a few months, a year?
Not really, no. The most I've ever been was 120, but my body weight always stays between 110 to 120.
120, okay.
Never has gone over that.
Okay. Let's see. Do you have any family history of any like bone issues and joints, like arthritis, anything like in that area?
Actually, my aunt, my mom's sister, actually has arthritis, but she ended up moving to Texas because apparently the warm heat helps with it. So yeah, but it was getting really bad, and she was living in New York, and during the winter it got worse. So she was like, I'm out, going to Texas.
Yeah, that definitely does help.
And I think I actually, and I don't know if it's because when I was younger I used to crack my knuckles a lot, but
you feel
when I get really cold, my fingers start to like hurt.
They hurt. Is it more of like a stabbing pain, cramping, like just discomfort feeling?
I honestly haven't had it since last year, but like it feels like, I guess, cramping / stabbing. Like it hurts to move your finger type of thing.
How would you say your sleeping pattern is? Like every day? How would you say how many hours you sleep a day? Do you wake up and feel groggy or feel well rested? Do you sleep through the night?
My sleeping pattern is all over the place, but no matter what, I always wake up at either 7:30 or 8. And when I wake up at 7:30 or 8, I feel well rested, even if I went to sleep at 4 o'clock.
Okay.
But later on in the day, I'll probably crash for like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And wake up.
Okay, so you feel like even if the lack of sleep, you feel still, rejuvenated. Okay.
But I do know during my periods, I get really, 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 really tired.
Yeah. Because of the loss of blood, and then you're working your body's just trying to work a lot harder and stuff like that. So it's definitely a time for you to, again, drink more, take your vitamins, just to get that extra, energy. Make sure you're having your carbs to help with energy and stuff like that. But it's definitely normal. So
yeah.
How would you say your bowel movements are? Do you go frequently?
Every morning.
Every morning, and that's your usual. And how often throughout the day do you go? As far as bowel?
Usually just in the morning, but depending on the day, the majority is 2 times a day.
Okay. And you haven't had any issues recently with any bowel movements?
I don't think so. Actually, no, I'm kidding. With the stomach ache, I have had
The
constipation.
constipation. Gotcha. Okay. Do you take antacids?
Who?
Antacids. So it's like the Tums.
Oh, okay. No,
No. You never taken them.
long time ago, honestly.
Okay. Which is good. You don't want to take them too often. Some people start taking them like they're candy, and it can lose the effect and also cause issues, later on if you're taking it too much. So that's good.
Pass my water, please.
Yes.
Thank you. Sorry.
How would you say your relationships in your life are? Do you feel that they're healthy, or do you feel like you might have negative impacts from your relationships that might cause stress?
It's good.
Okay. I mean, it's just all goes into like the job and stuff like that. Like you just want to make sure you're not holding into certain relationships that might be causing issues later on that you don't realize. Sometimes we're so used to certain people's patterns that we don't realize it might just be a prolonged stress that we never looked into.
That's true.
So it's always good to reflect on your relationships and stuff like that. So.
That's true. I mean, my immediate family, we're all good.
Okay.
Relationship with sisters getting better.
Yeah.
Friends, great.
That's good.
Other than that, nothing really.
Do you use any drugs? Marijuana, any street drugs?
No.
You hesitated there a little bit. Sure about that?
Yeah, they're sure.
Okay, and as far as sun exposure, do you feel like do you use sunscreen daily?
I do not.
Okay, so that's another thing.
It's hard for me to get tan. Well, not sunburn. Not tan, sunburn. So.
And why is that?
It's a Dominican.
No, so the whole thing with sunscreen, a lot of people think sunscreen is just to just block you from getting tan. No, it's actually protecting your skin from like the UV rays and stuff like that, and sun exposure. Because prolonged sun exposure without protection can lead to skin cancer. A lot of people don't use sunscreen because they think, okay, when I go out in the sun, I'm fine. I don't get red. I don't get peeling. But you're actually exposing your skin to, enormous amount of heat. Even when it's cloudy outside, the sun is still out. So that's still radiation and it's UV exposure occurring. So it's actually good to always wear sunscreen even through the winter time.
Okay.
Because that is something people realize when they're in their 40s, 50s. They get skin cancer and like, how did I get skin cancer? I've never been outside long enough or tanning. But it's just that constant sun exposure. So it would be good to use sunscreen throughout the day. And I'll take my own advice.
Okay.
Let's see. Give me 1 second. Alright, so I have a few more questions and we'll get into, your vital signs, your respirations, blood pressure, and all that stuff. And then I'll do an assessment on you, okay?
Okay.
Do you currently work anywhere where it causes you to lift heavy objects?
No.
Okay. Do you do self-breast exams?
I do.
And how often do you do it?
At least 2 times a week.
2 times a week, okay. And you haven't noticed any changes? Okay. Have you noticed any tenderness, redness, any change in your
No, just my nipples gets bigger when I get on my period. Yeah.
Okay. Alright. Alright, so I'll start doing an assessment on you after I get your vitals. So we'll do your blood pressure. I'll get your respirations. I'm going to listen to your heart and stuff like that. And if you can just turn your hand this way.
This way?
Alright, so
How do you read this?
so I'll pump it all the way up until I can't feel your pulse anymore. And then that'll just let me know where my market is as far as how far I should go up. And then what I'll do is I'll listen for your pulse and that'll let me know.
That's so weird. When you did that, it felt like the blood in my brain kind of like paused for a second.
So I got 110/60. Is that usually around your normal area for your blood pressure? Definitely something just to listen. I mean, you know, check just because if you can check your blood pressure at home or when you go to your doctor, you can say, oh, hey, that's not my usual blood pressure.
What's the highest? Or what's,
so,
how do you know like what's high and what's not?
So when you reach into like the 140s over 90 something, that usually says that you're like pre-hypertensive, which is an issue where your heart is pumping out, you know, struggling to pump out blood. So it could be backup, it could be multiple things.
Mm-hmm.
But it's nothing to be alarming because there's so many factors that can cause you to have high blood pressure.
Yeah.
So that's why I said it's good to know your blood pressure yearly so that you can say, okay, there's a change in it that wasn't there a month ago or last year. So.
Okay.
So your pulse is 80, and then your respirations I got 18. Okay? And then I'm going to take your temp. Here you go. Alright, so 96.8. Not bad at all.
That's an interesting thermostat.
I know, it's the new stuff. You know, that's
I need one of those.
You know, technology. Alright. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start at your head and then I'm gonna work my way down. So I'll do a skin assessment throughout as I'm going, and then I'll be listening and inspecting each part of your body, okay?
Okay. Sounds good.
I'm just gonna rub my hand through your hair.
Okay.
I'm just looking for any nodules, any masses, any spots that feel soft or tender. Does it hurt when I do this?
Oh, that feels good.
Have you noticed any increase in hair loss?
No, I've increased or decreased?
Increase.
Increase?
So like shedding more often?
No, actually, I feel like my hair's growing out more.
Okay, that's good. Hair looks proportional on both sides. Alright, so I'm just going to be checking your ears, on the back of it. I'm checking your neck, just to make sure that you don't have any bruising anywhere. And I'll do the same to the other side. Alright, I'm just going to look at your face area. I'm just checking to make sure everything is symmetrical. Making sure there's no indent anywhere. So many different reasons you can have indents. You can have masses, you know, under the skin. So I'm just checking. And then I'm checking your pulses.
You have both on both sides, or there was only one side?
Nope, both sides. But you just don't want to check it at the same time.
Why?
Because you can cause decrease blood to your head.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so you always want to check it simultaneously. And then I'm just checking your thyroid. No wonder what.
There's this game that I used to play as a child where you like.
That's not a game that you should be playing.
You never heard of the game?
No, I have not.
Where like you hold somebody's neck for like, I don't know, 10 seconds, and then they'll end up getting dizzy.
Yeah, that's not a game you guys should be playing.
I
Okay.
stopped it.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shine a light in your eye. I'm just checking for pearls, so I'm just trying to check to make sure that your eyes accommodate, that they're equal, reactive to light, and then that just gives me more information further, okay?
Wait, you want me to look at that?
Yep, just look at me. Okay. And then I'm going to have you watch the pen. You need to make it. Okay. Alright. And then your pupil gauge is around, I would say 5. I'm just going to check your eyes. And then I'm just going to fill your prominence. I'm just checking to make sure that nothing feels like, weird or deformed.
Okay.
Alright. Now, how would you say your hearing has been? Have you had any change in hearing?
No.
Have you had any change in eyesight where you feel like you see hard time seeing close or far?
No, not necessarily, but sometimes when like I'm staring at something, I'll see like a random debris in my eye. Have you seen those before?
Like little flakes and stuff like that? Okay. So you can always use eye drops just if you feel that happening. And if the eye drops don't clear it up, then it also can be other things that has to do. It could just be floaties in your pupil area. That's something that a doctor would look a little more into because he would have more information and more technology to see what's going on as far as that. So the next time you do have floaties, if you feel like eye drops do not clear it up, it can be internal instead of on the outer of your eyelids and stuff like that. So.
Okay.
Alright, let me just check. I'm just going to check your nose just to make sure it's symmetrical. Sometimes it can tell me if you have a deviated septum or if you have difficulty. Do you ever feel like you have difficulty breathing?
Lately, yeah, I think it's because I'm getting a sinus infection.
Okay. And do you feel like tightness and pain in this area?
Yeah.
Okay, so we can definitely do that too. Do you have any difficulty swallowing when you're eating? Feel like you're gagging and reflexes are reactive a little more than often?
Yeah.
Okay. And is that with certain textures or just?
Oh, my gag reflex is fine.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I'm just checking that area. Alright. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to listen to your artery, carotid artery. I'm just listening for fluids. It can tell me a little more as far as how your heart is doing.
Sounds good?
Yep, sounds good. Alright. So I'm just checking your skin.
How I get a random cramp here?
Is it from sitting like that?
I have no idea. I feel like, when you get gas sometimes?
Oh, gas veins, yeah, those are the worst.
Yeah, but I usually get them here, not here. That's weird.
Sorry. You just how you're sitting.
Probably.
Alright. So your tips and both your arms feel even. Just checking your hands for any discoloration or masses. And then just checking your capillary refill. Just to make sure that your fingers are getting circulation. Okay.
Actually hurts.
Oh, sorry. You pressed a little too.
It's okay.
And then I'm just going to check your pulses. Okay. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you lay across the bed area.
On my back or?
Yes, on your back. to do is I'm going to inspect your stomach.
Okay.
Just checking to make sure there's no masses or anything like that. Checking for any deformities or anything that feels like it's poking out.
Okay.
Looks good. Alright. I'm gonna do a little listening to listen to your bowel sound.
Should I be like breathing in and out?
Yeah, just breathe normally. And while I'm doing this, I'm gonna listen to your heart, okay?
Okay.
Alright, can you take a deep breath for me? Another deep breath. Sorry. Alright, so I'm just gonna palpate your stomach area. Let me know if you feel any tenderness or any pain. Alright, I'm just checking for any nodules, any masses. Okay. Alright, and then I'm just gonna push into the back. Do you feel any tenderness when I'm pushing it over here?
No.
Okay. So this is gonna be a little more invasive. I'll just check in, make sure nothing's.
Should I be doing these exams myself at home?
No, more of the breast exams than these exams. Because these it requires a little more, pressure and stuff like that. So I'm just gonna check your legs. I'm checking your femoral artery pulses.
That's where your femoral arteries are?
Mm-hmm.
What's that do?
So it's a big artery that connects to your body, but also your heart, and it also provides circulation down to your legs and stuff like that. So we all have pinpoint arteries that are very important, like the popliteal, which is behind your leg.
How many do we have?
12.
12.
Alright, then I'm going to check your pubic pulses. Alright, so do you shave?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just checking hair distribution, just to make sure it's even on both sides. That sometimes can cause for lack of circulation if one side had a little more hair than the other. Check is good. Do you ever have any bone pain or swelling?
Not necessarily bone pain, but sometimes my feet cramps up.
Okay.
Like literally my bone will go over the other bone.
Okay.
It hurts.
And how long does that last when that happens?
It all depends. Honestly, like, one doctor told me to like press on my foot and then it'll go away, but sometimes that doesn't work, so it would last a little bit longer.
Okay. And is it like stabbing, cramping pain?
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes that also can be arthritis or wear and tear. Just watching how you move certain things, how you lift certain things, the way you move your knees and stuff like that. I'm gonna have you stand up.
Oh yeah, my knees have been hurting too. I don't know why.
Like I said, it all depends on what you do daily. Just if you're a person who exercises, lifting wrong, stuff like that, how you bend on certain things, how you pick up certain things, you always want to modify it so that you're straining less on your knees and stuff like that, okay? Alright, so I'm just going to check your toes. Okay, so I'm going to have you turn to the side. I'm going to check your spinal.
Okay.
And just checking to make sure that there is no curvature. Can you bend forward for me? Yep. Alright. Alright, everything looks good. Just checking your back, okay?
Okay.
Alright, looks good. And then you can go ahead and sit down. Do you feel like you have any limitations in your range of motion?
No.
No. Any changes, like as far as like how much you can stretch a certain way or anything like that?
No. No.
So I'm gonna do one last thing, and then I'll have the doctor come in. Okay?
Okay.
So what I need you to do is push towards my hand. So put your hands in front of mine and push as much as you can. Okay? And then do the same thing, straight hands, and then push back. Okay? Good job. All right. Now you can put your feet down and let it dangle. I'm gonna push your feet down. Try to push my hands up. All right, and then feet down to my hands. Okay. All right. So everything looks good so far. I have the doctor come in and you can speak to him more about your abdominal cramps and stuff like that, and he'll give you a little more options of what can help you. Okay.
Okay.
It's good meeting you.
Good meeting you too.